Alright, you guys, it is that time. It is that time you've been waiting for. Somebody's been complaining about all this Bugman stuff, and they wanted to see some transforming robots. Well, you know what? I know y'all been waiting. I know y'all have been dying to see more Transformers. And here's Megatron from Transformers Prime. We're actually not reviewing him right now. We're reviewing the VF-25F. Macross Frontier. This is the Renewal version. This is the updated toy of the DX Chogokin. I don't know if they're calling them Chogokins this time around, but the updated VF-25F from Macross Frontier. I do have the S pre-ordered as well, and they've made some changes. I don't know how much of this is actually the same parts. I don't think, honestly, like looking at it, I don't have the old one to compare, but I don't think any of these are actually the same parts. It does have holes for the armor, the super armor, so I'm assuming we're going to get that at some point. But apparently people have confirmed that even though a lot of the slots look and location points look the same, people have confirmed that the web-exclusive armor for the previous versions of the figures will not work on this, which is kind of a shame. I would have liked to have been able to throw some super armor on them, but whatever. This is Alto Saotome's VF-25F, the kind of stock model here of the SMS fleet. It comes with the, we'll go over some of the goodies first. It comes with the Jet himself, the Valkyrie, the Messiah, whatever you want to call him. Itself comes with the stand that's configurable into various forms. We're just going to see it for robot mode, but basically it can function. You saw the stand in the opening pictures there in the 3 different forms. I'm just leaving it in robot mode to show it off at the end. He comes with a little Alto in his flight suit. With a little bendy wire and a clear stand so you can make it look like he's flying. It's okay. It's a neat little extra. I could have done without it, especially since he's in like a static I am karate chop in the air pose. I don't know what that's all about. It also comes with 6 replacement hands. Left and right gun holding hands, left and right karate chop flat hands, and left and right fists. Like solid fists. I haven't opened any of these, and you'll see why here in a minute. The original one, I believe, came with the. You had to have the flat ones on, or you should have had. I think you could fit one of the other ones on, but generally it came with the flat ones installed because they had to fit under the shield in the back, and that's not an issue this time around, which you'll see in a minute. And it comes with a gun pod as well. Also, one of the first improvements you'll notice to this is that one Alto in the cockpit is painted. When if you open it up, he actually is indeed a separate figure. He's not painted like super. The detail on this guy is not super. Let's see if we can get a focus on here. Super fine, but come on, you almost had it. It's not super fine, but it is enough to convey Alto in his flight gear. When he sits right there in the cockpit, he can stay in there. And the addition this time is this piece behind his cockpit, you can actually pop out. And then flip this back, and there's actually a second seat in the cockpit for another little figure. And I think Ozma's plane, the VF-25S, comes with a little Ranka that can sit back there as well. But you put that in, and then just stick this piece back in. But for right now, since I don't have another figure to sit back there, there's no need for the extra seat. So we'll just close that up and close the cockpit. Well, I'll try to close it. There we go. Improved landing gear. The fins back here are enlarged. Improved landing gear, and there's some neat stuff with them. The shield, you can see the shield now has a little movable flap down here. And we'll get into more stuff on the shield here in a minute as well. And one of the things that's nice is it used to be, it goes to the system more like, that I've definitely seen on the VF-1s, in that the clip that you used to have a separate clip that plugged in through the arms to hold the gun pod onto the bottom. Now it just has the little grooves in the forearms that snap into a groove on the handle of the gun, so you can just kind of slide this in there. Get it in that groove there. Come on. There we go. And then snap the arms back together, and it holds the gun pod on underneath the plane, which is nice. It holds it a lot up closer to the plane. It's a lot less prone to falling off. Go ahead and pull the landing gear up. And it doesn't require a separate piece that has no place to go in any of the other modes. So that's really nice. There's also a gun pod for Gearwalk mode that's actually really cool, integrated as well. But we'll get to that in a minute. But there's the basic fighter mode with the gun pod attached. So we'll go ahead and pop the gun off. Flip these back. Lift these pieces up. Actually, we're going to unfold those again in a minute, but we're going to go to gearwalk mode. Now you come back here, you flip open this panel, and fold that little fin up. Right back here like this. Bring the legs down. The transformation, like, again, since it's the same mech and the same basic mech design, the transformation is very similar to the previous one, but they've just made a lot of little improvements all over the figure that really, really make it shine. So bring those down, attach these right here. Go ahead and pop the shield off here. Just snaps off the back. And here's that little movable flap I was telling you about. Then the arms just flip around like this. Just like that. Then we're just going to bring the legs back up and snap them back into place. Just like that. And then the feet down here actually extend out, open up, and you can see just right here, if you remember, you can go back and watch my review, the feet are already much nicer than they were on the old one. They've got like a ball-jointed swivel ankle, gives them a lot more posability, which is really nice. They're weighted a little better. And there we go. Yeah, this little piece. Remember you being an issue on the first one too. We bring the arms around, rotate the fists around, okay, bring the wings back down, flip them back out for gearwalk mode. Now, because of the way the ankles are, and they made the legs so they rotate out, you can actually get him into an A-frame gearwalk stance, a very solid one. Before, if you wanted him to stand like this, you kind of had to have the toes pointed, and it really just kind of was precariously balanced. And now you can get a really nice, I mean, like, it's not going anywhere, a really nice, solid A stance for the gearwalk mode. Really, really love that. Now, what I was talking about earlier, back here, there's an integrated, I kind of flip it up, an integrated stand or hook for the gun pod, and you basically pull it up, you flip it around. This piece actually tabs in back here to lock that in place, and then the gun pod snaps into that clip, so you can have the gun solidly attached underneath gearwalk mode, which is also really cool. The shield plugs into his arm like this, and one of the other things that's neat is underneath the shield, if you open this up, go ahead and take it back off to show you. This little panel right here in the front, you open this up, and you can slide out the dagger. It stores in the shield this time. So also really cool, and he can hold it. And speaking of holding things, I told you I didn't have the, I didn't open the pack of hands, because the hands that already come attached to gearwalk have an independently movable index finger. The other fingers are all together, and then an independently movable thumb. So he's got like articulated hands. That's really nice. I'll bump the gun pot off, but we're going to need to take that off for a minute anyway. And anyway, I was going to show you how to... these hands have a little groove inside of them, just like inside the arms that the gun peg fits on, or the gun pod pegs onto. There we go. And then the fingers are perfectly posed to wrap around it, so he can hold the gun as well. So really nice. And the gun itself, go ahead and pop this out. The gun itself does extend, and the bottom part folds down just like in the show. You can bring that back. A little Gatling gun there. So yeah, if nothing else, the improved gearwalk mode here just blows the original out of the water. Totally worth picking up just for that alone. And then on to Batroid mode. Just bring this down, straighten the legs back out, and go ahead and fold these back behind the legs again. And this panel right here, you'll notice, collapses now. There's a gear. This thing can pop off fairly easily, the front part, but this little piece actually collapses down into there and will pop back out during transformation. You want to fold this connector back up. Go ahead and fold the wings up like this. Bring it down. You want to open up the landing gear here on the nose. Sorry, this thing's just so big. And then flip the nose cone up under there. Like I said, this part of the transformation is very similar to the original. You just kind of bring this up, rotate this piece up and around and back into here. You want to bring this down. Go ahead and pop the head up. And again, the neck improvements here. Push this up through here. Bring that up and over. You want to be careful here because these landing gear pieces like to get caught if you don't have them adjusted just right. But you bring this all the way around. The head rotates around like this, and there's actually a neck extension built into it, which means the VF-25S won't have the same problem that the original did, where it needed an extender piece to sit properly because of the way the head was designed. So that'll be nice, not having an extra piece for that. Go ahead and bring these, fold this down like this, and that solidifies the head. But here you can see the neck extends there. And that's going to, like I said, that's going to be... On Alto, it wasn't a huge issue before. On the VF-25S, it was, if you recall. There was an extra spacer that was included with the second version that came with all the armor to allow his head to fit properly. And that looks like it's not going to be an issue anymore with this mode, or with this version of the model. You know what I mean? And then again, here, this connects differently. You're going to bring the legs almost as far back as you can, because they're actually attached to some metal pieces here that flip up, and then are going to, as you fold this up, you want to kind of have to stay on top of it, or it's going to... And you see these pieces flip back, snap in here, and as you see this panel flip forward while we did that. Straighten the legs up. And that allows this panel to sit. It's actually come undone here. There we go. And this crotch panel actually folds forward at a bigger angle than it did on the original, which is more accurate to the show, which is nice. So you got a much nicer looking VF-25 than the original. It's just it's a bunch of little things. Like I said, the overall look hasn't changed. It's the same mech, but just all the little improvements and adjustments really made him a lot better. He's a little taller than the original. Just a lot nicer all around. Stands a lot more solidly. That ankle pivot really helps. There we go. Come back here. And just makes like I said, makes for an overall solid figure. Go ahead and put his gun pod back in. Yeah, he does suffer from a little bit from loose shoulders. Also, you can get the shoulders a lot closer together, so there's not that big gap that the transformation needed for the first one. There also is, like I said, the stands in 3 different pieces. For the gearwalk and the plane mode is fairly straightforward. For robot mode, there's actually this little piece that you plug in just back here. It snaps in under the cockpit, and then there's a little tab underneath here that pegs in right back under here, and then let you just put them on the stand to display them there with the SMS logo. So yeah, can't wait for the VF-25S to come out. I think that's my favorite design, and with all the fixes on here, it's just going to be a way cooler figure than the original. Alto, I like Altos too. Like, I don't know, they haven't announced any plans, as far as I know, to do Luca or Mikhail's planes yet. But if they do, I'll be buying them. I'll definitely be buying at least the super armor, if not the full-on armor for these when they come out. Well, I'll probably get the full-on armor for Ozma if they release it. But there it is, the Macross Frontier VF-25F Renewal version. If you collect these things, pick it up. Seriously, it's so much better than the original. And I liked the original.